Welcome to episode 6 of the Longer Miles podcast, brought to you by the Warrior Trail Foundation. This evening, I have my co-host, Isabella. Hello, Izzy.
Good to see you guys. I'm Isabella with Warrior Trail Foundation, Chris's co-host. I'll keep him in line. And we are chatting today with Andrea Moore. So I'll let Chris do the intro.
Yeah, have me do the intro. Well, okay, great. Well, we have with us Andrea Moore and the General. That's the nickname that we go by here.
Jackie.
It's Jackie.
It's just Jackie with a capital J.
And this evening, we are going to explore not just your most recent event, but I'm not sure we really ought to do a little psych evaluation on you, Andrea, because I was just reviewing your ultra sign up and it's quite entertaining. Do you know that it's been since December of 2022 that you went out and just ran a simple 50K? I thought there were others in there, but in the last 4 years, anytime you've run a 50K, it's following 100K the day beforehand. Yeah, it's been a long time since you just ran a silly old 50K. And this year you ran what? How many? 2 plus?
We ran 10 as of April earlier this year.
Just 10.
You can't,
Just 10.
and you can't say just a 50K, but that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't think you knew that. I like to dig through people's ultra signups and see what is going on back there. And way back when, I mean, you go back, I think, to maybe like the first weekend ultra signup existed. You've got a long profile.
Well, it's a slippery slope, Chris. It's a slippery slope. We all know that.
That is for sure. But anyway, the most recent adventure that you did is what we really want to talk about tonight. And we know you've, oh, it's awesome. The cat's in the background, cameo moment. And we really want to just like dive in and hear about this adventure. And first of all, it was entertaining to me because Walter Handloser posts about people running 200s and who's heading out this particular weekend right before our Dark Sky 220 was getting ready to kick off. And he said, and best wishes to Andrea Moore, who somehow is running across Florida and the Dark Sky 220 at the same time. I'm anxious to see how she's going to pull that off. I didn't respond at all. I just left it there. I reached out to Walter a couple days later and said, she's crushing it. And he was just like, I'm confused. We left it at that. So tell us, initially you were going to come to Pennsylvania, but then you had already registered for across Florida. And, going back and forth, we were all chatting and I said, hey, we can just open up a virtual option for you. You can do it whenever. And that's what you decided to do. You went down and ran across Florida, which I have no idea who decides to do that. Like that's more puzzling to me than almost anything else in your resume. Okay. And then I get this notification from, this message from Izzy that says, Andrea's decided what she's going to do. And I was like, what? In December? Who's going to do that? That's crazy. But before all of that, I just want to take a moment and thank you for your amazing yard sale.
Oh,
That was awesome.
That was incredible.
That was incredible. I mean, I was so jealous that I couldn't just like pop in. I'd take one of those and one of those and one of those.
So explain to our audience here, because we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. What was your virtual yard sale that you did this year for Warrior Trail Foundation?
well, Jackie is always saying there's so much stuff. You have so much stuff, and it's like it's just an ever growing, arsenal of gear. And I don't know, it popped in my head that I was like, you know what? When I first started ultra running, I would give anything to have a good price of like barely used gear. And I have all this gear, so maybe I can like help somebody while we also contribute to the Warrior Trail Foundation. And so we did a runner closet virtual sale, and it was incredible. People that were, yes, I want those shoes, or I could use that pack, or I could use this. I would love to use this and this. And it was, I wish we had more time uh, to give away more items at, a crazy price. And so much of those proceeds benefited a foundation which you guys know is very near and dear to me. It was amazing, and I think we're gonna do it again in the spring.
Cool.
And that was just the closet here at home. We have a storage room that is wall to wall,
Yeah.
just buckets and buckets of just running gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
For
it.
sure.
What a
Well,
great way to.
that's fantastic. And, I can't let my wife know about this because
He could
Izzy's
have still
been in
just some
my man
hydration
cave in
packs.
Colorado, and she knows how much crap I have.
It's
That
good stuff, though.
other people can use,
Yeah,
right?
you've
Yeah.
only
Like,
used
that's
it a
the
few
thing
times.
yeah, other people can use that stuff.
Yeah. I think I have like I think I have 6 Bronco race vests. So I probably sometime I actually told Jeff one time someday I'm going to show up at a race that he's at wearing all 6 of them. Well, it's fantastic, and thank you so much for your efforts. And how much? It was $760, I want to say, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Fantastic, right? So
From a 2-day online virtual sale.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Much.
We
right.
could have done more. Just
So I
out of
mean,
time.
just to let you know, that paid for 4 months of coaching for one of our athletes. So that's fantastic. So
That's amazing.
thank you.
I love that.
If I had known that, I would have thrown in a lot of my triathlon gear.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
athlete
because
gear
I'm
too.
retired from Ironman, so I
Okay.
would have thrown. Yeah, next time we
We'll add
definitely
it.
Hey,
will
we'll
do
do one in
that
the spring.
for
I
sure.
love it.
Yeah.
I've got wall to wall storage room of just kits and yeah, cycling shoes, wetsuits. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll do it
Spring
again.
sale coming up.
Yeah.
Everybody pay attention.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, and then you decide that you're gonna do a virtual dark sky 220. Just to let you know, the people who did our 220 in Pennsylvania this year got snowed on, got
Mm,
rained on, got hailed on. They saw the sun, I think, for a couple hours on the very last day.
wow.
And it was amazingly cold. And that's the windstorm that we had that rolled through Pennsylvania in October took down a ton of trees. So, yeah, it was a wild event with no course marking. Uh, I forget what our fastest time was, but I want to say it was 115 hours. And it was brutal. And yeah, I gotta say, when I asked Jordan Copenhaver, who holds a couple FKTs, he's a very accomplished backpacker and trail runner. His words were really quite amazing. He's like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done. Pavlo Lee, who is coached by Remo Spagnol, was our first place finisher. And he made the comment, like the video I have, I should send you the video. It's amazing. He's like, I was cold. I was wet. I was cold and wet. I was wet and cold. I was shivering uncontrollably to the point that I just fell asleep shivering and woke up shivering. And he said it was 5 days of being completely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and I loved every minute of it. So it was pretty cool.
So
We got
very similar
good reviews.
conditions.
But then, I hear this, message from Izzy and says, Andrea's decided what she's doing and she's going to go do Cocodona in reverse. I'm like, I freaking love it. I love it. So
That wasn't fun, by the way, to crew. I'll tell you that. That was not easy to
that's
crew.
one of the easiest 200.
It is going the opposite, going the normal direction. The going the opposite direction That was not easy.
Well, you just have to drive backwards and it's easy.
Well, I think that the difference was she was working the entire time. So she had her shifts at work at Starbucks here in Flagstaff, and she was maneuvering and negotiating shifts with other people and trying to figure out when are y'all going to be at Mingus? When are you going to be here? And then we had pacers that reached out online at the last minute that were like, we're going to meet you. Like she was coordinating all these things, but while she's working like a 50-hour work week.
Well, did she at least bring you a Starbucks at some point?
She did. Yeah. It was the best hot chocolate, best mocha ever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just tell us about how did you decide to do that?
Yeah. So originally, I had gone to Ultra Sign Up looking for, what other 200s exist out there that I don't know about and where can we fill gaps in our schedule. We were trying to do as many 200s as we could through the end of the year. And Across Florida popped up. And I'm like, perfect. It's my birthday. It's, November, and we've never done a 200 in November. Moab is generally the last 200 of the season. And we've never even ran or raced in Florida. I have family in Florida. We have lots of friends in Florida. So that was exciting. Sign up. It's a done deal. Well, then I have this friend, Izzy, who sends me a message and she's like, hey, I'm doing this race in Pennsylvania in November. Come run it with me. And I'm like, what race is that? And so she tells me all about, well, there's different distances. You can do this cherry blossom 110. I know you're into 200s. There's a dark sky 220. And this is what the race is all about. And when she told me it's Veterans Day and she told me it's for the Warrior Trail Foundation, all those details, I was like, I have to do that no matter what, period. I'm going to do that. And I think Veterans Day is like one of the most under celebrated, understated holidays in the country. Like, I don't understand why we don't celebrate it so much more. And then the fact that it was around my birthday, that was just another plus. And we're like, we have friends in Pennsylvania, and it was everything just aligned where we're going to do that. So I said yes to my friend Izzy. And then several weeks go by after I signed up for that race, and I was like, oh, wow. Hey, honey. So the race that is like in my heart in Pennsylvania is the same week as Across Florida. And it's not like Across Florida we weren't excited about that way. We were very excited about that race, but the cause and everything behind Dark Sky and that was speaking to my heart. And I was like, we have to do this. So I reached out to that race group in Florida and I told Jeff, I was like, hey, let me just tell you what happened. I know your runner's guide says no deferrals, no all this stuff, but this is why I'm choosing Dark Sky over your race. He comes back and he's like, sorry, it's it is what it is. Yeah, you can't you're not getting your money back. You're not gonna and I was like, okay, well, my first thought was I'll give my bib to somebody. I'll get some money back. So I tried to sell the bib. And as this is happening, like we're getting closer to the race date. Like you can just give your bib to somebody 4 weeks before a 200 miler, right? Like that's not normal. And I'm like, I don't know why nobody wants this bib. And it's like, well, because people train for years, but we're still. And so when I couldn't sell it, I did reach out to Rachel at Women of Ultra and I said, hey, you know what? I'd like to donate this bib at Across Florida. Maybe there's someone in the women's group that could use this bib for free. Like, I'm just donating it to you guys. And she says, well, is this for the race next year? And I said, no, it's Across Florida this year. And she goes,
Two
well, the
weeks.
race is in 2.5 weeks, Andrea. And I was like, well, somebody can use it. Like, I just didn't want it to go to waste. but no one was able to use the bib. And that's when I reached out to my friend Izzy and I said, "Hey, girl, so I have to do this race. Florida, I can't run it virtually. I can't sell the bib. There's nobody I can donate to, transfer." She says, "Well, let me talk to my friend Chris and let's see what we can do." And that's where the virtual option of Dark Sky 220, I guess, was born or something. And
Yep.
so
Well,
literally, this is like a week before across Florida.
I know
So
it's
it's
so
like,
funny because she reaches out to me. I already had a virtual 50K and a virtual 110 out there because somebody I know wanted the virtual 110. Okay.
It's nice when your buddy's
Because
a race director.
because she was going on a cruise with her husband and bought the alcohol package, okay, and was convinced that she couldn't possibly come home after a week of drinking herself into oblivion, okay, and then fly to Pennsylvania and toe the line. So she was asking for virtual options for herself, okay, and she said, "Why didn't you create a virtual 220?" I said, "Who would do that?" And she said, "Well, I've got somebody." I said, "Just tell her to do it. I'll create it."
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
And just like that. So I'm on the phone with, Ultra Sign Up tech support saying, I need to create a virtual 220 and not mess up everything else we've already done. And his exact words to me were, "Who would do that?" So that was hilarious.
But let me add on to that. This was all a week after she did Dia de los Muertos.
Oh,
So that was a week before. So she did Dia de los Muertos. She looks at me and says, "I think I'm going to do across Florida." I said, "Well, what happened in Pennsylvania?" And I'm looking for tickets. I'm looking for flights already to fly to Pennsylvania because we were like all going, and
we had Pacers.
we had Pacers all
we-
set up for Pennsylvania.
We had to call them all and say,
and she
"We're
says,
changing plans."
yeah. And then she says, "Well, Chris and Izzy said I could do the virtual for
Dark Sky.
for Dark
yeah.
Sky." And I'm like, "Are you effing serious?" I mean, I was like, "Are you serious?" So we're gonna do Dia de los Muertos. A week later, we're going to Florida, and then 2 weeks later, you're doing backwards of Cocodona. And I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at the face chart. Is this going to be? What is this going to look like? What is my crew going to look like? And obviously, it was just me crewing to begin with. But I'm like, holy fuck, this is crazy.
It's
But
fine. It's fine.
all
Everything
fine.
fine.
No.
everything, yeah, it did. Thank God.
We had to get plane tickets to Florida.
Yeah.
We had to tell all the Pacers at Dark
Dark
Sky
skies.
that we're not going to be in Pennsylvania. That was Michelle Goldberg.
Yeah.
That was Cody Gamble. That was Oliver, who was coming from the UK.
Yeah.
That we're not going to be in Pennsylvania. And if you guys still want to pace and want to have an adventure, you can come to Florida. Nobody.
I don't blame them.
That's so funny too, right? Because you probably thought everybody would prefer to go to Florida.
It's happy days. No,
It wasn't sunny.
they
It
wanted-
wasn't happy days.
their response was they wanted the climbing
Mm.
and that Pennsylvania was closer for Michelle.
I mean, they didn't want to climb 200 feet in Florida.
That was a different kind of hard.
I wish Paul was here. I really
I
wish he
know.
was here.
Because
He did.
he
Yeah,
did both.
He did both.
Yeah, he did both. Yeah.
Nice.
But anywho, so across Florida
Anywho,
happens.
so now it's 2 weeks later and you're towing the line at Heritage Square, right? What time of day?
So from the finish of across
Midnight.
Florida, it was 9 days later that we decided December 31st, but it's tricky. Or
November.
not December, sorry.
November.
November.
I was going to say, it's not
November.
even December 31st. Wow, we're talking about the future.
November.
I'm already thinking about across the years. So 9 days later that I had to work on the last day of November, and so we set it at midnight so that we would actually start at 12:01 on December 1st, because we already had a November 200. We needed
Yeah,
a December 200.
got it.
And so it technically was Monday, December 1st at 12:11 was when we started at Heritage Square. Like, I had just gotten off work like 6 hours ago, and I took a
Yeah.
nap.
Yeah, that was it. And then Paul came
Paul came here.
over to meet us here.
Yeah.
So we took his vehicle instead of her vehicle, because there's gonna be 2 runners. And then we had 2 pacers after that. So what I had planned was for them to sleep here. Okay, spend the night here. Whatever you guys want to do, I'll make, dinner, breakfast, whatever. At 11:30, I wanted us to start driving to Heritage Square. Now it only takes 15 minutes, 10 minutes to Heritage Square from our house.
We live in front of Eldon.
And so I'm going, okay. And these guys are like, 11:45, we're not even out of the house yet, because they were
I was
just waking up.
trying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was trying.
Yeah, you were trying. Not hard enough.
That's why we call her
Sorry.
the general.
The general talking. So I'm like, okay. So finally we started driving, and we get to Heritage Square at actually 11:57. I looked at my watch. We
Yeah.
had a pacer waiting for them. Okay. Of course, they have to take pictures and all that stuff, the whole shebang. And it's like, we're in Flagstaff. It's freezing in here right now. And you guys have to climb Eldon this way, the opposite way. Do you guys realize what that's going to look like? You're not coming down. You're going up Eldon. So finally I said, okay, you guys got to get going. Get going. So finally at 12:10, they started moving.
Did a send off with us.
Yes, a friend of ours, Dakota.
Yeah. Coda runs, couch to Cocodona.
He did a lot of posts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he started with us, and then our first pacer, Melissa, she joined us and went the next 42 miles. And so, yeah, we left at, midnight essentially, and took off through Buffalo Park.
Yep.
Through up and over Eldon. It was snowy, icy. It was dumb. It was stupid.
Yeah, because it had just snowed. It had just snowed 2 days before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
The first aid station I met them at was at Fort Tuttle.
Wow.
Yeah.
42
You went up
miles.
over and down to Wona Canyon.
Yep.
You took last year's course?
So
We didn't do
we actually combined several years courses.
I was wondering if you went across that other point or what you did there.
yeah.
So we did last year's, or actually this year's course until we got to Sedona.
Yeah.
There were a couple of reroutes. Sedona was the first major reroute because Hangover Trail, I didn't know. A lot of times when Flagstaff gets snow, so does Sedona. And I didn't know, was there snow and ice on that? And it was one thing to climb up to Hangover Trail, but to actually come down, that I wasn't sure, like, is that safe? Is that okay? Like, we don't have race support. Like, there's no medical that's going to come and get us.
Right.
There's no search and rescue. So we did bypass the Hangover Trail in Sedona. So, but yeah, Fort Tuthill was like mile 42 or so.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that we received any sort of aid.
Yeah.
Like food. That's when they ate. They slept. No, you didn't sleep there. You slept in Sedona.
No, we just got warmer clothes.
Yeah, it was really, really, really cold. Very, very cold.
Yeah.
And it did rain like towards Jerome when they went to Jerome.
Yeah,
and back down
And you
to-
headed down to Munns Park?
Yeah.
Is Munns Park where you were in the post office?
Yes. So, even in May, everybody that's done Cocodona during May, the coldest places on the course are Arasha Creek.
Yeah.
It's super, super cold right there when you come down from Crown King.
Yeah.
But the other two areas are Kelly Canyon every year it's so cold there. And then Munns Park, it's super cold.
Hmm.
So that's in May. So December, it was like wind chills in the teens. It was horrible. Everything, when your hands are on fire, your face is just blistered with wind and cold. And yeah, we make it to Munns Park, and Paul and we're like, we have to get shelter somewhere. There's no car to climb in, there's no
Right.
van, there's no sleep station, like there's no one coming to help you. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So it is so cold. We go to a gas station and we're like, gas station is closed. We look across the street, there's like this motel, and we're like, maybe the lobby is open.
Yeah, I
No,
know where you mean.
there's a phone to like call to make a reservation. So, and the phone is outside the little lobby. So that's not, and I'm like, hey, I think that's a washateria over there. He's like, well, let's go check it out. It's not a washateria. It is a post office. And I'm like, well, a post office isn't going to be open at 1 in the morning. We go check, the door is open, and we're like, jackpot, jackpot.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't super warm in there, but it was a lot warmer than,
Yeah.
and that was our first sleep at Munns Park. It was so cold, but we laid on the floor for like 10 or 15 minutes. I made the stupid little video just to document, like, this is so silly. But it's happening. It's happening.
No, but post offices are great options. I mean, I have some friends that do that race across America on bikes, and they sleep quite a bit in post offices.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Interesting.
it's like an interesting like little dirty secret. And just to let you know, last year on the Cherry Springs 110, we had a guy take a nap in the post office in Woolwich, Pennsylvania. So
Funny.
Man.
he calls us and says, I thought there was supposed to be an aid station there. And we were like, we didn't know you were there yet. He's
Okay.
like,
I'm making a note. Making a note.
we'll
It's
be
a good
right
tip.
there.
Good tip for people.
So, so awesome. Well, I mean, so then you moved on down to Sedona and then across what is that, the Verde Valley? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And what's the climb back up to Jerome like? It's shit coming down. It's probably easier going up.
So I think when we leave Munns Park, we're headed to Snebley, or, Foxborough Ranch. So Foxborough Ranch is private property. She's texting us and calling us like, I can't go to Foxborough. So we're like, look, you'll see us on Schnebley Road. And that was the next time that we received aid. And that was like mile 80 something.
Wow.
That was our first real sleep. We slept for an hour. She brought us Starbucks, hot chocolates, McDonald's, like the big breakfast,
Mm.
pancakes, biscuit, eggs, sausage. Like, yeah,
Oh, Paul was so happy in a pig and shit. He was so
Oh my
happy.
God.
The fact to just see a vehicle where he could sleep.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah. But
Yeah,
the
he
McDonald's
was.
big breakfast on the
Oh,
trail, that's the,
he
pay
was so.
attention, Isabella. Pay attention.
That seriously,
I'm
it,
not
it was
screwing you. I'm
magical.
running the same race as you, Chris.
I know. I'm just talking about for future races. This is what I expect from my crew.
Hey, it was magical just to get inside of a vehicle, and to go 40 miles without aid station, sleep station, with nothing. Like, this was a huge learning, and there's no
No,
course markings. We spent so much time off course. We didn't know, like, you have your phone the entire time looking at Gaia, the GPX file, and you would think Paul has done Cocodona 5 times. I've ran it 3 times. Like, we would think we know the course, but going backwards, and at
It
this
looks different.
point, we're like 4 days with no sleep during Cocodona, so we don't recognize areas with
no.
fresh eyes and fresh legs. Like, it's not just going backwards, but it's different stages in the race.
At different times of the day, in different
Mhm.
conditions and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything was so different, and it was much more challenging than what I thought it was going to be.
If it makes you feel any better, I did the first, like 45 miles, almost 50 miles of our course.
Uh-huh.
I started with them. I knew I couldn't stick around, for the long haul, but I was like, I'm just going to go out for 24 hours basically and explore the first, 45 miles with them. And it's my own course. I mapped it out and I've run all of that first 45 miles beforehand, in different segments when I was verifying route, things like that. I was having challenges myself. I had my phone out, like, where the hell's the, course go? And it looked completely different with 3 inches of snow on it
Mhm.
than it did when I had done it in April the year beforehand, you know? So I was like, I'm blown away. I literally stood at one intersection of trails for about 5 minutes trying to convince myself I was going the right way. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I think that we take for granted the course markings. Like,
Yeah.
you really could just go flag to flag. Like, there's so many things that these races do for us,
Mhm.
and we kind of take it for granted. So
Well, just the
that was
safety
just
thing,
something.
knowing you have a tracker and someone's watching you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just little things like that.
That was the
No.
most difficult part for me, not having a tracker.
Yeah, not
And
Because I
knowing
had
where
to
they were.
I really had to rely on our find me phone.
Mm.
Our iPhones have the find. So I had to rely on that. And sometimes it was so hard. So when they get to Fane Ranch, okay, it's private. And during Cocodona, it's no problem.
Yeah.
But when they're doing this on their own, it's a huge issue
Yeah.
because there are restrictions that you can't get to.
And no signal
No
and things
signal,
like that.
nothing.
I'm curious, did you go across Fane Ranch or just down the road?
No,
You went
No.
couldn't.
down the
We
road.
can't.
Right. So that was another reroute. So
Yeah.
we leave Snebly, and Snebly is amazing because that's really the first time that you can see the San Francisco peaks, which had snow on them, and then you can see the red rocks of Sedona. And it's just like such different planets that it's like, this is where we came from and this is where we're going. But it's also our opportunity to get off of the Coconina Plateau. And Paul and I are like, oh, it's going to be so much warmer down in Sedona, and the rest of this course is going to be warm and amazing and sunny. It was not. It was not. Okay.
No.
High desert is cold AF.
Yeah.
In December, Sedona is just different. But yeah, going down into Sedona it was mesmerizing. It was beautiful. It was stunning. And Paul and I were having some church, and it was like, but when you're climbing out of Sedona, how many times do we look back to see how beautiful it? Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. And it was like sunrise, and it was a whole different view and perspective. And it was like, we were teary-eyed,
Yeah.
like, this doesn't even look real. So, while Cocodona is amazing, this virtual dark sky gave us a different set of eyes,
Absolutely.
and it was amazing, and it's hard to really put into words just how beautiful coming
Awesome.
down off the Coconina Plateau
Yeah.
into Sedona was. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious about the climb out of Jerome.
Yeah.
After you cross the road, after you go through all the baby heads and cross the road,
Yes.
what's that climb up to Mingus like on that trail?
Dude. So when you're going the opposite direction, there's a water station before you come into Sedona. Up on this vista going down to the water station, you can see Cottonwood over here, all the lights. Well, you see this little population of lights over here on a mountain. It's like, oh my God, that's Jerome
Yeah.
up there. And
Uh-huh.
that's Cottonwood and the Verde Valley down there, like you could just see it. And it's like, we have to go way over there. And so the whole time that we're traversing, the lights are getting closer and closer and closer. And just before the sun comes up, we make it into, what is that, Dead Horse?
Dead Horse. Yep.
That's the next time that we see Jackie. And after
That's a
we had,
state park.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
So we had another 1 hour sleep, lots of food. It was amazing. And the sunrise leaving there, heading to Jerome, was spectacular. It was freezing, but it was so beautiful. And then, yes, first we have to cross the river, right?
Yeah.
The Verde River, before we can make that climb up to Jerome. We had planned several different reroutes, but we didn't consider going across the river. During Cocodona, it's like knee deep or so,
Yeah.
and you can go across. It is not knee deep. Paul is like, we're just going to skinny dip it. I said, I'm sorry, what?
In like 20
I mean,
degrees.
we have like 4 layers of clothes on. It's still in the 20s. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. We'll put our clothes in our pack, put our pack on our head, and we're just going to skinny dip it. I said, Paul,
No.
first of all, sir, no, we're not. And I have videos of just how high the water is. The current is ripping. And Paul, at a young 69, is like, we're just going to cross it. So I get out Gaia, and we're looking for a workaround the river. And if you get up on the, what is it, Tuzigoot?
Yeah.
There's a road that will take you over. And that's where we start our climb.
Okay.
And we're looking for, going backwards, we're trying to figure out, where did we come down that power line, and how do we get there and get up? And so we're actually going through Clarksdale. We stop for coffee. This lady is like amazing at her coffee shop, and she's like, "You're doing what? You left Flagstaff? You're what?" And
4
she
days
was
ago?
like, yeah. She gives us some snacks and some hot coffee. It's amazing. And we're on, it's not a highway, but it's pavement. See, Jackie.
Yeah.
We go into the museum. They have a bathroom. The lady wants
They
us
have
to
great bathroom
pay
there.
to use a bathroom, because the bathroom is for customers only.
Yep.
We bought something. I don't know what we bought. Well, we bought something so we could use the bathroom. I change clothes. We sleep for an hour, and then we start on the road to go up to where you start the Mingus climb, which is normally the Mingus 13-mile descent from hell.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be so fun. We get to climb it instead of coming down it. It's a 13-mile climb on rocks, on rocks, on rocks.
Yeah.
In
She was
December.
crying.
She was
And what was
crying
the temperature? Did
so
it get warmer?
bad.
Those things are like baby heads too. That's
Yes.
when you first, like the way you were going, when you first leave the dirt road and get onto that bullshit road of baby heads, that thing.
Yeah. There's just no place to put your foot, you know? But again, I was trying to tell myself, at least we're climbing and
Yeah,
not
it sucks
descending.
descending it. I
It's,
would easily rather climb it.
and it was actually a quite nice climb. It's nothing crazy. The footing is just nasty, you know, but the whole time that we're climbing, we look back, and Sedona is still just beautiful and amazing. And I think that's just where we had a lot of gratitude that we were climbing and not descending. It
Yeah,
was
for
so
sure.
much better to climb that area. And this is where we met our next pacer,
Yeah.
Carol. She is incredible, from Prescott, holds FKTs. She's a 200-mile crusher. And we get this message from the general. She's like, Carol is going to meet you at the road. So there's a place when you're descending Mingus that you actually cross over a road. And I don't know, is that 17?
17.
89? Something.
17.
The 17. And so Carol is going to meet us there and she's going to climb the rest of Mingus with us. And she had potatoes and hot chocolate, like all the magic stuff, right? And
Uh-huh.
we were just so thankful to see somebody else because, to your point, when you're doing like a fat ass 200, there's no other runners
No.
to mingle with. There's no aid station volunteers to get energy from. So we were excited to see
It's
Carol.
just
Yeah, it was
Paul.
just really, really nice for her to actually connect with me, and say, "Hey, where are they?" And I'm like, "Help me, because I really don't know where they're at." But I'm just,
Yeah.
following him as much as I can. But they're on their way to Mingus, and she says, "Fantastic! I will meet them at the bottom." I'm like, "Great." So then when I had service, I called her and I said, "Surprise! You've got a pacer." She's like, "Oh my God." And I think Paul was crying inside himself because he was just like, I mean, this man is almost 70 years old, and he's like, has done Cocodona the correct way 5 times, but coming down, it's a little different. And so he was just so happy that there was going to be somebody there with them. And I just told her, just give them a lot of protein, a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
They're cold,
Mhm.
whatever hot you've got, just let them make sure that they get up to Mingus. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And she did. She got him up there and she got him back down.
Yeah.
Was
It was
there snow
amazing.
on
It was
Mingus?
great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was so freaking cold.
Oh
My
my
gosh.
gosh.
I think it was actually colder on Mingus than it was Eldon.
Yeah.
So the feels on top of Eldon were 11, but there was not wind. It was just icy and frigid and cold. Mingus, it was windy and it was just blistering ice up there. So, you're doing those switchbacks coming down Mingus.
Mhm.
Well, as we start to make our way up, now we're on the north face. And so there's a lot of crunchy ice that melted during the day and now is frozen. It's like, do we need traction? We're using our poles. I think Paul had a couple of slips. And, those switchbacks are no fall zones you
Yeah.
know so we were definitely talking to each other like, let's take our time, let's be safe, let's be careful here. But it was beautiful. It was almost a full moon that night. And the three of us were like, hey, we're together, we're solid, we're good. And then we get up and we see the launch zone. If you're familiar with the launch zone, I think that's where the hang gliders
Yeah.
launch off of Mingus.
It's where I took my nap last year at Cocodona.
It's an incredible spot if you can get there during the daylight to take a picture because you can see just it's incredible and it's beautiful. And even though it was dark for us, I think we got up there maybe around 2 o'clock in the morning. We take a moment, we made a video, but the whole town down below, they were just like Christmas lights and sprinkles of glitter. And it was like, who's climbing Mingus on a Tuesday at 2 in the morning? It's like, we are. We are. So that was fun. And then we go and we kind of make our meander on a road, right? We pass what is normally the aid station
Yeah.
and a moment to get out of the cold. We did find some bathrooms that were unlocked. We had a huddle moment in the bathroom eating
It's cool.
Yeah. And then we start to make our way down Mingus, which there was plenty of ice coming down. And, going down ice is pretty tricky. We just had to take our time and be safe. And then we get down to the road. Carol meets up with Parker. She's picked up. And now Paul and I, in our delusion, we're trying to make it around Fain Ranch.
Yeah.
So did you have to
Yeah.
wear micro spikes a lot on this adventure? Because of all the ice?
So we all had, well, everybody had traction but myself. I forgot my Catula exospine. That's where you dig your pole in and you put your foot next
Your
to your
heel,
pole
yeah.
so you don't go off the mountain that way and you lean towards the mountain this way, and you just had to take your time. But well, some of the snow was actually nice and had some traction. It was more powder, but there were some areas that were ice and we just baby steps.
Yeah.
Fain Ranch was meeting them at Fain Ranch.
That was a mess.
That was a mess. First of all, well, they're calling me and they're saying we need a lot of help. And I'm thinking, oh my God. This is the first thing she says. We need a lot of help. She's crying. And she says, I know where I am, but I'm really, really tired. I'm sleep deprived. I said, okay. I said, don't worry. And then Paul calls me on the other end. And I'm like, Paul, I'm with Andrea on one end. I said, let me just figure out what I need to do with both of you. Now I have crewed Paul before, and his son and I are constantly on the phone, especially when CJ is not with me. He's constantly on the phone with me when Dad is running with Andrea or when. So he's calling me. Paul is calling me, and he's like, "I'm done. I need to sleep." I said, "Okay. I cannot walk anymore." I said, "Okay. Where are you? I will meet you there, and I will get you guys in the vehicle and get you to a safe place, and we will go back to where we stopped,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to go from there to the next safe station." He's like, great. So here we are, stopped in the middle of the fucking road of, I'm like, holy moly, this is not, no, we need to actually get you guys to Fain Ranch. So, because, Fain Ranch, it's open when it's Cocodona.
Uh-huh.
It ain't open when it's not
Right.
Cocodona. So I'm trying to figure out where the hell are they?
Well, I was arguing with Paul because Paul was like, I know where we are. And he's doing the compass like this. And I'm like, sir, no,
Sure.
you don't. He goes, well, hold on. I think Andrea, see the lights over there? If we just go towards those lights. And I am like, we've only had 2 hours of sleep. We're on day 3. This is like mile 150, 160, whatever it is. But Paul, in the middle of the moonlight, is doing this thing with his compass. And I'm like, this guy does not know where we're going. We have, this is not, and I'm like, Paul, this is not the right way. Like, we need to call Jackie. And she's like, well, where are you? And I was like, I don't know. We're going towards some lights, like lights that way. I don't know it's that way. And Paul is like trying to say, we're going towards Fain Ranch.
So
How do you know that's Fain Ranch over
yeah.
there?
So I told Andrea
It was a hot mess.
she has her Ultra Spire light, which is extremely bright to begin with. I said, I am very close to you. I'm probably like 2 miles to you. All I want you to do is give me that light. Just like it's like the
It's got the
star,
blink
It's like,
feature too.
yes, show me something. So then I found it. And so I got out of Fain Ranch and I started driving where they were. I was like, follow that light, follow that light.
We got to the road.
Paul, yes, you got to the road, and then Paul on the other end. I don't know. I can't find my footing. I said, Paul, sit down. Both of you sit down. Andrea, I need your light up so I can follow you. So then I finally found them. And I'll tell you, it was like
we were like 3 miles off.
It was like finding a needle in a haystack. Basically, it's like, oh my God, there they are. So I drive, and then I drive back to Fain Ranch where there's a parking lot and there's spotlights and everything, which is the big, is the huge Amazon vehicles. I mean, there was just all Amazon vehicles, and I'm trying to find a slot. I found the slot.
Oh, that's right.
I said, I don't give a shit where I'm at. I said, I don't care if they're going to stop me. I don't care. So I got there. I said, you guys, we're going to eat first. I got hot food. I got like everything that they needed. Potatoes. I had ramen. I had everything. And then you guys are going to sleep for 2 hours. So they did. They slept for 2 hours. Okay.
And then we're headed
And
to
then
Iron King.
and then they were headed to Iron King. Iron King is 5 miles. 5 miles from where we were, because I had to drop them back off, okay, to
Where
where they
you picked us
stopped.
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I wanted to make sure that everything is calculated correctly.
Right.
From, I mean, we don't want to cheat. We don't want to do any of that because, I mean, I've done Ironmans, for 15 years, and I have seen pros cheat. I said, I'm never going to do that,
Just
you
had to
know?
go back to
So
where
I
we
told them, I'm driving your asses back, and you're going to start there and go to Iron King. And that's, what's that?
we had to
Plus,
find a
that's
way.
private. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had to actually go through the freeway. Like, they actually walked the
Yeah.
freeway.
And we went through some little neighborhood or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's right there along the highway.
Yeah.
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 Got to Iron King. I mean, yeah, they got to
And then we're
Iron
headed to
King.
the Dells. Yeah.
Well, when they got to Iron King, they did sleep another probably hour. But the funny thing in Iron King, I have to say this, is because there's nothing in Iron King. Nothing except a little park, which is across the street. So I'm parked. My car is the vehicle is parked right there. I have these two cops, and I'm getting out of the car, setting up the back, to make sure I'm putting the stuff out, the buckets out,
The
so they can have, I'm setting up their, no, your sleep, your blankets, your pillows, and these two cops come right next to me, and I'm like, oh God. Oh God, oh God, oh God. And no questions asked. So I just let their, the buckets there. I set their pillows, their blankets, everything. And I come back to the front seat and I'm sitting there. And this cop is just staring at me. And I'm like, dude, please don't even start. I
What
am
time
so
is this
sleep
at?
deprived. I have to be at work in 2 hours.
But we got there.
Yeah, you did.
And they have bathrooms.
Yep.
Was it
Across.
daylight?
No,
No, it was
no, it was
night.
like
No
3 in
night.
the morning.
And this is across from
4.
where the aid station would be. So you're in that neighborhood, right? In the street.
Yeah, I know where
So
it
the aid station's over there. Well, across the street from the aid station, there's
is. That
actually
park.
that park.
Yeah.
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 And so we were able to use the restrooms, and the one girl comes up, and I thought she was a cop.
Oh my,
And
because
she was
it was
like,
like 4 in the morning, actually.
yeah.
She comes running up to us, and I thought it was like, oh my God, what did we do wrong? She's like, "Are you Andrea Moore?" Like, who the hell is this person asking me? She's
I don't
Andrea
know.
Moore. Are you Andrea Moore? I'm like, I'm not Andrea Moore. No, Andrea Moore is in there. I'm like, she is. She's taking a nap right now. What is she doing? And we told her everything, and she's a nurse.
Oh,
She is a surgical nurse just doing her morning run before going to work. And she says, I follow Andrea. I'm waking Andrea. I'm like, someone's here to talk to you. She's like, and she's like all out of it,
I thought
So
it was the police or something.
she thought it was the police. And then later on, I said, no, she was a surgical nurse.
well.
Anyways, yeah.
So then you headed to the Dells and through the Dells into Whiskey Row.
Yeah.
And what time did you get to Whiskey Row?
It was morning time. So we're going through the Iron King Trail. That's when the sun was coming up and we were so excited to have some sun. The Dells at that mileage going backwards was insane. We were going in circles. We got lost so many times. We thought we would know where we were going, but the Dells, it's not like a buffed out trail. You're boulder climbing. And so that was a really tough section. And when we did finally get to Prescott, I would tell Paul, I was like, oh my God, yay, we're in town. Like Whiskey Row is right up here. No, it's not. From Whiskey Row to the lake is so far, but
It's like 6 miles.
Yes, it was and it's all descending when you leave Whiskey Row, right?
Yeah.
You make the
Well,
turn at the
until you
high
get out to
school.
that neighborhood, you go up a little bit over the neighborhood and then descend down. Yeah. So you
Yes,
were climbing all of that.
yes, it was horrific. I was in the worst mood ever, and I kept telling Paul, who was so fast. I was like, we're not in a hurry, dude. Like, are we meeting somebody? And I was like, what's happening? And I thought I saw the school and I was like, oh, there's the high school. Now we're going to bang a left and Whiskey Row is right there. No, no, it was so far. And I was like, why are we still climbing? Like, it was just a totally different perspective and it felt so far.
That is a really long descent out of that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're at mile like 160, 170.
It's always dark when I'm starting down there in Cocodona, and I can see that damn stoplight for what seems like an hour and a half.
Yes. Yes. It's a long ways, and it felt like we were just climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing, and I was like, "We're supposed to take a left somewhere," and Paul was just like, I hate to give you bad news, but we're not almost there." And I was in a very, very bad spot. But then we get to Whiskey Row, and we saw our friend Matt Miller, who had McDonald's Big Breakfast.
So about a few hours before
So good.
Matt called me and he says, "What can I do to help?" I said, "They need a pacer. They need somebody there with them, at least up until Crown King." I said, "Can you do it?" Now, you know, he had just gotten through, some medical and some, you know, and he says, "I'll be there. I will pace them." And I'm like, "God has sent you to us." So
About to spill that. Oof, I'm sorry.
he met them at Whiskey Row, and I I knew that she was in a bad place. I already knew. So she and I had a little, come to Jesus conversation, you know, and which is pretty common, when she does these trips, she'll get into that space. And so I pulled her aside away from everybody and I said, "This is what you wanted. Okay. This is something that you're doing for the veterans." I said, "You think about it. Think about what you signed up for. Think about what you are going to gain in life when you do this."
Yeah.
I said, and literally just, you know, I said, "Don't fuck this up." I said, "This is number 10 right here. And I don't want to hear it when we get home.
Yeah.
Because when we get home, I'm going to hear everything of, "Oh, what if, what if, what if?"
Hmm.
There is no what ifs. You're going to finish this and you're going to finish this with the biggest heart and your biggest, accomplishment. That changed her so quickly.
Cool.
It really did. And so she looked at me and she says, "Do we have food?" I said, "Yeah, I've got plenty food. What do you want?" I said, "Better hurry because I got to be at work." And that was it,
Yeah.
And so that was the last time I saw her until Crown King,
And so
which
you,
was a long, long
yeah,
time.
that is a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
47.
say that's right. It's like 45. Yeah.
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 Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't see her then because I
Yeah,
couldn't
you
get to
were
the other
working at
two.
Whiskey
No, no,
Row.
no. It wasn't because I couldn't
Well,
work
you
because
can't get to Camp
I can't get
Keepa.
to
You
Camp
can't
Keepa.
get to
Yeah.
Wamatuchik.
So I
There
can't
was
get to
there
any
was
of
no
those.
access at those places. So we knew when we left Whiskey Row, we knew that we would have no food, no water, or anything until we got to Crown King.
You know what, Andrea? You've come up with a huge cost savings for all of the 200 race producers out there, and they're gonna get rid of those two wasted aid stations that they normally have in that distance.
It's not needed.
Yeah, you're
I
now
do
gonna go
not
45 to 50 miles, at
I
a
do
at a
not
pace.
recommend. I do not recommend. Let me tell you, that was
Well,
by far our hardest stretch, our most challenging stretch. I think on paper it looks like there's less climbing, there's more descending. Hurrah! Quads and toes. That amount of descending, even when you're not descending Mingus, you're not descending all of these climbs, you're constantly going down. right? I mean, so
Yankee Doodle's a tough trail to go up, and it's probably a tougher trail to go down.
I don't know how many times we all fell. All of us. Matt,
Yeah.
Paul, myself. First of all, there was a lot of snow and ice, and it's just, you know how technical that trail. So first we had to climb up to Keepa. The climb to Keepa was underestimated. We were like, what the hell? Like, it just felt so long that we were just climbing and climbing. But if you think back to Cocodona, when you come out of Keepa, you're going down those like dirt roads forever and ever until you hit a flat, and then you're going to Wamatuchik, right? I mean, so we're on this road, and then all of a sudden we're just climbing and climbing and climbing, and it's snowy and icy, freezing. It was like, I don't know, another 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we see the sign for Keepa, and we're like, yay! Well, after Keepa, we're on our way to Mount Union, right? And now we're on Yankee Doodle, and we're going down and down and down, and then we fall, and then we fall,
Yeah,
and somebody else falls, and we're like, "Are you okay? Is this?" It was really, really tough.
yeah.
It was just really tough.
I don't mind Yankee. Last year doing Yankee Doodle going up, or this year going up Yankee
In the
Doodle
mud.
in the mud was
Oh yeah.
stupid. It was
Yeah.
just stupid, right?
Yep.
And it was stupid the whole rest of my time out there. So,
Yeah.
but
It's tough.
yeah, I mean, I think one of the hardest sections of Cocodona for me personally is this next section. It's from Arasta Creek to Crown King.
Crown King.
And going the other way, it's extremely long. Like it
It's
just
16 miles.
yeah, it seems like you're never going to get to Arasta Creek.
Yep.
So
Yep.
going back up it was probably miserable, but it was daylight.
No.
No.
No. It was
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, it
No.
was a nightmare,
Yeah.
because for us going the opposite direction, we're over 200 miles in. So when we get to Arroyo Creek, you know how cold that area is in May. In December, I had like 4 or 5 layers on. I had 2 pairs of gloves on. I had every hood, every buff. I had a ski face
Mhm.
cover thing. I had everything,
How
and we
cold
were
do you
just
think it was?
freezing.
Like
Huh?
15? Like in the teens?
Yeah.
Oh,
If not, because anytime you're near water, it's just so cold. And I know that I had fleece lined leggings, then I had another pair of pants, and then I ended up getting my rain pants out of my pack and putting those on. So I had 3 pairs of pants actually
Hey,
on.
I just want to ask, you were in Arizona, right?
Yes.
It was
Yes.
That's crazy.
It gets cold here.
But just for the record, that week was probably one of the
the coldest.
coldest
Yes.
weeks that Arizona, at least that section of Arizona, has
Yes.
had in a very long time.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you, like us, 3 weeks beforehand in Pennsylvania, timed it perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
when I picked that week to run the Dark Sky 220, I actually went back and looked 20 years to see how often it had snowed and been that cold during that week.
Uh-huh.
And I only had one out of 20. Okay. Well,
Yep.
it didn't matter. So you guys nailed it perfect too. Congratulations.
Yeah. No, it has not been that cold here since that week. It's been in the 30s until today.
Today was
Until
19
today.
degrees. 19.
But, to your point, like, it hasn't been that cold, and yeah, it was just such a crazy timing. But all of us are just so cold and so tired, and you could feel it. We were starting the climb out of the creek, and we were trying to celebrate that. Like, yay, we're getting away from the creek. It's going to get warmer. It's going to get warmer. and
Not
we're
in the
climbing.
Bradshaws, it's not.
Oh,
No.
no. Paul, I have to tell this story real quick. Paul goes into like G.I. Joe mode. And he tells Matt and I, he's like, all right, team, look, we're going to work for 2 minutes and then we're going to rest for 3 minutes. So what that means is we're going to climb as hard as we can for 2 minutes. And then the rest, we're just going to power hike for 3 minutes. And we just want anything to get our mind off of how cold it is, how dark it is, how far I'm like, I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, we're 14 effing miles away. We're gonna be climbing, but it was like 14, like that's so far.
Yeah.
It's so far. And so I'm loving this Paul G.I. Joe distraction. And just like a drill sergeant, he's like, I'm gonna count down when it's time to go. 3, 2, 1, work. And so we're all just like running for like 2 minutes. And he was like, 1 more minute. We're like, okay. 3, 2, 1, recover. Like my mind was like we were in a spin class or something. Like there was a gym class going on and
This is
he's the
hilarious stuff.
instructor. He was the leader. And so he was like, okay, are we drinking? Are we eating? 30 more seconds. Okay. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. And then we're like running uphill again for 2 minutes. So this goes on for quite some time. And then finally, I look at Matt in the dark, but like we were looking at each other and I'm like, bruh, what the? I'm like, I can't keep doing this. And I was like, Matt, you tell him. And Matt's like, you tell him. And I was like, Paul, I'm sorry, but we need more rest. Can we get a longer recovery interval? Like, we'll still do a 1 minute work session if we could have like a 5 minute power hike. And Paul like concedes and he's like, okay, all right, as long as we're still working. And I swear, like, I felt like hours had gone by. I looked down at my watch. We're still 10 miles away. Like we've all,
I love it.
but you know that feeling, like it feels like you've gone so far, but you've only gone
Andrea,
a mile or two.
this is the reason we call this podcast The Longer Miles. Running joke around me where I get irritated and ask to see the profile.
Yes.
Let me see the profile. Like, I just need to understand where I am on the profile. And then I see the profile and I'm like, can we really be that far away still? It's not possible. We've been out here for 6 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yes.
so, yeah.
No, well, I will say, and we were definitely in that place. I don't remember a whole lot because 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, whatever it was, like, especially when it's that cold, your body is just using so much energy to stay warm. And I've not ever experienced a 200 in that condition before, you know? So I was so out of my mind. Now, I had a plane to catch to go to Western States.
Well, that's right.
So the same day, right? That I was to finish this race, I was going to catch a plane at 3 in the afternoon to go to Auburn for Western States lottery.
3 in the afternoon. It wasn't even a late flight.
No.
I'm really, I'm just really starting to question your intelligence.
So am I. So am I. After 10 years, so am
So there's some place, I don't know what mile it was, but we're still doing the Paul G.I. Joe workout and we're taking rest. And I'm like, it's taking us so long. I don't know if I'm going to make the flight. In my mind, I'm thinking that this flight is like 4 or 5 hours away. It's not, but I think that it is. And like, it's still dark. And I'm like, why are we still climbing? And to your point, Chris, I'm like, I want to see the map. We are not going the right way. I told Paul, we are not going the right way. This is not right. If we were doing Cocodona right now, it doesn't look like this. This is not right. So I was convinced that one, we were going the wrong direction. We missed a turn somewhere. I would get out Gaia to try to, but my phone was dying. It's so cold. All the batteries are
Fingers
like
don't
not
work.
holding charges. It was horrible. And Paul's like, no, we're good. We just have to keep going. And I'm like, I keep looking at my watch and like a mile is taking so long. And I'm like, they want to take a rest. They want to take a nap. And I'm like, we're not taking naps. It's 20 degrees, bro. Okay. We're not taking naps. Sleepwalk if you have to. We can't stop. So we have to keep going. So I get to a place where I look back and I'm like, where is Matt and Paul? And I think they stopped for something, but I didn't know that they had stopped. And so I could barely see a headlamp like 3 ridges back, like little squigglies back, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can't wait for them. I'm gonna miss this damn flight. So I go into like this angry, frustrated, I've got to hurry, climb. And I have like 10% left on my phone.
You call me.
I call Jackie. I'm crying. And I'm like, I'm trying to hurry. I'm going as fast as I can. I don't know if we're on the right trail. I think that I'm getting closer to you, but I don't know. Where is Matt? Where's Paul? Are they okay? And I'm in total breakdown mode. And
So
she
then
was like,
I'm like,
it's 4 in the morning or something.
and I've always been the calmer person, the mediator, the babe, you're fine. Just get to me. Just keep coming to me. You know where you are. You know you got to get to Crown King. You know how to get to Crown King because it's the opposite way of where Cocodona. Just keep coming up. You are in the right place. You are in the right track. I'm following you.
You said I was like 2 miles away.
You're like a mile and a little over a mile and a half away.
Yeah.
I said, I'm right here where I've always been.
And you
Okay.
said it's 4 in the morning. Your flight's not till 3 p.m.
Correct. So
Sounds awful.
finally, I said, just get off the phone and just keep moving forward. I'm right here. But dummy me is thinking right here because it's the opposite. I'm waiting for her coming the Cocodona way. Okay.
You were on the road.
And I'm on the road and I'm thinking, wait a second, I'm on the wrong side of the road. So I had to back up. And, it was like 2 in the morning and everyone's asleep in that saloon, in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm backing up. I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at now. So I'm
Mhm.
looking and all of a sudden she knocks on the window. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong spot. She says, don't worry, I'm here. I'm like, yeah, I know you're here. Perfect. Great. Get in the car, get yourself warm. So I said, where are the boys? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh,
I ditched
shit.
him.
Right.
I
said,
was
"Oh, God."
scared.
I was more scared for them because I know I had her with me already.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm really scared for them. So then I'm waiting and waiting and she's passed out. I said, just go to sleep. She's passed out. She made it. She got it. You got your 220. Great.
Yay.
Sleep back there. And then I'm waiting for the other 2 boys. I'm looking at my watch, looking at my tracker, looking at my watch, looking at the tracker. It's not a tracker. It's my Find Me. And so about 45 minutes later, here they come.
2 headlamps.
2 headlamps. Paul is leaning.
Mm,
He had the lean going. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, shit. Okay. But that lean only lasted for probably like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he saw me, it was like, woo, yeah, I'm done. And so they got it done.
5:30 in the morning.
It was 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So you
They
didn't
got
even get to have a whiskey or at Crown King.
No.
I didn't know where she was parked. So I went to the saloon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I expected it to be open or whatever, but I was like, there's nobody here. And I just like collapsed on the
Yeah.
patio
Mhm.
and I was crying, talking to mama, all the things. And then I'm like, where the hell's Jackie?
I'm on the road.
So, you have to like leave the saloon, right? And walk back out to the
Mhm.
road. And that's where I found the car. And I was like,
That's where
hey,
I was.
yeah,
Like, I'm here. So
Awesome.
it's
Awesome.
crazy.
What an adventure.
Great.
What an
driving them
adventure.
back to Flagstaff was an adventure.
Yeah. I know.
So many different tones of snores.
Yeah.
They were all back there snoring. So all three of them.
So, in your assessment, which one is the easier direction?
That's not even a fair question. I mean, first, because one is like in the spring, one being December.
Mhm.
December definitely made this course extremely challenging just because the temperatures that you're dealing with, the terrain
Mhm.
was exponential.
Mhm.
However, there's more descent going the other direction, but then you have the blow up of the quads and the toes. Your feet get just destroyed when you're descending that much.
Yeah.
But then Cocodona, I mean, we've seen temperatures over 100 degrees climbing Lane Mountain on day one, and that wipes so many people out. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've only experienced that climb twice, and once was the year it was 100 degrees, and the other was last year in the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah.
And I frankly think I'll take the 100 degrees
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
because the rain was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was hypothermic at least 3 times last year in 125 miles.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just stupid, you know?
Yeah.
And I couldn't move fast enough to stay warm in the mud.
Mm.
Like, it just didn't work. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what an adventure that you
That's
created
such a
for
great
yourself.
story.
And I guess what I can say is we from the Warrior Trail Foundation are so grateful for you just going out there and doing it. And the money that you raised for us is invaluable, but the stories are even better. And we loved your posts, and Izzy was sharing your posts out there.
I'll say, just to return that back to you, Chris, there were two race directors involved, and I'm just going to be very open and honest here. And one race director said, "Nope, can't do it. Can't work with you. There's just no way around it. There's no other options." And there was another race director that said, "You know what? We're going to make it happen." And the reverse Cocodona never would have happened for Andrea and Paul. And there have been so many people that have reached out to say, I want to know what Cocodona in reverse feels like. It looks like in December, maybe November,
Yeah.
Veterans
not
Week.
December. But that wouldn't have happened without a race director just saying, you know what? Yes, we'll figure it out. Let's let the creative flow and let's just say yes. And I think that Izzy had posted something that was very intriguing to me and I love so much. My heart was like, that is it. And it's more about not the rules of the race, it's about building awareness, it's about building community. And I felt that so much and it made me feel like you made the right choice, Andrea. You
We re-
know, so
really
I wanna say
appreciate it.
none of it would have happened if it wasn't for you guys.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. What I can say to you is if you want to hear an amazing story about happening in our Cherry Springs and Dark Sky event, I'll have Jordan on here in a couple weeks to
Mhm.
talk about his Dark Sky in Pennsylvania. But I literally just posted last night the Chad Pritchard story from
Mm.
our Cherry Springs 110, and his mother passed halfway through that race, and he tells an amazing story about how he navigated the rest of that race after losing his mom and staying out there in our tough conditions. And what was amazing for us is our event was very small. We had we had a total of 17 people across 3 races. We finished at this house that we rented in Woolwich. And by the end of the race on Sunday, we had these people finishing at the house up onto the big front porch, and it's like the Waldens, you
Wow.
know? And there were just a crowd of people on the front porch cheering them on and welcoming them home. And well, I mean, we'll never have a finish line that's not on a front porch now. Like
Right.
that is the only way to do it. And we had no course marking, no aid stations, no nothing, a $22 entry fee, and asked people to fundraise for us. And we raised, I think, total about $6,000 across that race,
Awesome.
which was spectacular. But most important was the community that we built. Every single person is like, I am absolutely coming back next year. If I'm not running it, I'm coming back to help out. I just got to be on the front porch welcoming everyone. So, I think, me personally, I believe this is what trail running was probably like in the beginning.
Yes.
And we're going retro. So, you know, so I really, really love what you created and the spirit that both you and the general brought to the table. I will say the one negative side of this is, Jackie,
Yes.
any weekend that you're not crewing for her, totally am hiring you. Izzy's out, you're in.
Well, one thing I do have to say though is we will be there next year. We're not doing Florida.
Awesome.
We will not do Florida again.
Awesome.
We definitely want to be there next year. I want her to experience a trail that has no no markings. I wanted to experience
Well,
something very
to be
different.
fair, our trails are all blazed with paint. Okay,
You just can't see 'em at night.
There are more markings on our course than
Yeah.
on any race that you've ever run.
Yeah.
The problem is you probably can't see them most of the time
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's covered in snow.
because they're not
Absolutely.
reflective. They're not
Yeah.
reflective. So at
Yeah,
night
yeah.
it gets challenging,
Yeah.
right? So,
But I
but
mean, for the cause, we will
yeah,
be there next year
awesome.
in person for sure.
Awesome. Well, we're excited for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. And
Thanks for having us.
thank you for all that you've done. Izzy, thanks for joining us this evening to listen to
Yeah.
these two lovely ladies share their
Lunatic,
story.
lunatics.
We need a different terminology than the Coconino Cowboys. What do we call them?
I know.
Coconino Cowboys.